I heard a great line about AI that I'm stealing. This is not quoted to me, but it said that if you couldn't be bothered to make it, why should I be bothered to look at it? Or
Very
in
true.
the case of like if they used like an AI generated script for a movie to say, if you couldn't be bothered to write it, why would I be bothered to watch it?
True. True. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a really good quote, actually. I'm gonna steal that from now.
Yeah,
I'm
steal that too. I stole
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna say I made it. This is mine. I am the AI now. It's mine. Welcome
Yeah.
back to another episode of Tori Talks to, and today I have on my wonderful show.
Vashperado.
There we go. Hi,
There
Vash.
we
How are
go.
you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I just woke up and I know you're a bit sleepy because we're on different time zones, but I'm glad you're on my show. Before we get in, I want you to introduce yourself. What are your pronouns? What have you been doing? So yeah, let the people know.
Uh, my name is Vashperado. Pronouns are he, him, or they, them. And I am a digital artist. I've been doing this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And currently trying to work on a comic book myself. And otherwise, grinding commissions and trying to make a living.
Yeah, a very long time, right? Because I remember you back from the Tumblr days. I would say maybe 2012, 2013. And I recall before we had to redo this cut that you were also you were also back from DeviantArt days. How do you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about DeviantArt nowadays?
I'll be honest, I haven't used it in quite a long time, but I have to, give it the props for being the first kind of social media that we had to be posting our artwork on, because there wasn't anywhere to do that back then.
Yep.
And it was a fantastic place that I made a lot of great friends that I still talk to 20 years later.
Is that
There's
is that where you met Helixel?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because
That or Tumblr right after that.
yeah, because we talked about you on our podcast, and we're just like, when did
I
we
noticed.
both...
I was listening. I appreciated the shout out.
Yeah, we're like, where did we meet Vashperado? How come we all ended up like meeting the same people? I guess birds fly
We're
together.
all in the same world.
Yeah,
We're
the
all
same
in this
flock.
little art game. We're all doing it.
Yeah. How would you say? How would you best if you were like trying to, let's say, elevator pitch yourself to someone? How would you best describe your art style?
My art style.
Yeah.
That's a very good question. I almost feel like that's not for us to say.
Is
It's
it
so much
really?
easier to describe someone else's art style than it is to describe your own. Like, I feel like I could describe your art style
Okay,
very
I'm
well.
interested now. How do you describe my art style?
Your art style is very vibrant. I would describe it as delicious. It is a very
Delicious?
tasty looking art style.
Why
It's
do
like
people why do people keep trying to eat my art? Y'all keep coming to my booths and start chewing on things. I gotta like slap your hand away or something.
it's the colors. It looks like candy. It looks very tasty.
I get it fairly often. Okay, I would describe your art style as very dynamic. I would say your art
Yeah.
style. I think I've gravitated to a lot of the people I've talked to in the past. I've always said like your art's really dynamic. It's really like jumping out all the time, like it's gonna grab me. And I think that's like the kind of stuff I really enjoy. So I've always just like naturally just moved in that direction. And I feel like your art has kind of said that very same thing to me. It speaks out, as in like I think recently you did one with your OC that's like a wrestler jumping over the what is it, the ring over into the crowd or something like that, and I was like, yo, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, how long ago was that? I actually just kind of like came back to me. But yeah.
I think that was just this year. That might have been earlier this year.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah. I want to say I envy how loose you are with your art. Like,
Oh, thank you.
you don't hyper focus. You're not like a perfection. I don't know if you're a perfectionist. I don't want to speak for you, but from my vibes, I like the fact that like you allow yourself to have this kind of like flow, this freedom with your work. That's like, if I would see that, I'll be like hyper focusing on trying to like, wait, no, it has to be perfect. But for you, you're just like, okay, let's just go with it. Let's just go with it. Let's see where it takes. And I think that's what I really enjoy about your work. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I think I had a phase of being a perfectionist, that I was, kind of hung up on it being perfect and trying to over render, until I was, working on something for days and days and days. And I think I consciously moved away from it to keep it loose and keep it fun, and just have a more of a fun time on my end.
Yeah, I don't know if I've grown out of it yet. I still do have problems sometimes where the recent piece I did for Invincible and Adam Eve, where it was actually very, very loose in the work in progress, but I was like, all right, just get it done. Like don't focus on the problems too much. Get it done, get it out of here. And I found it really difficult too, because at every avenue I was just struggling with like being okay with it. And I think because it wasn't perfect, I was just frustrated all the time. And I feel like the fight against perfectionism is a very, very difficult one. And I feel like a lot of people that listen to this show also kind of struggle through that. Have you had methods of just like, okay, I got to start cutting down into perfectionism? Have you had moments like that? And what did you do?
That's an interesting topic, because, on the one hand, we're all kind of striving for the perfection. Especially when it comes to anatomy and posing and wanting to get it right. Because when it's not right. We want to keep getting it right until it looks good. But yeah, I think with like the lighting and the rendering and the coloring, I almost feel like perfect is not attainable. Like it's not something that you could work on it for a week, or just work on it for a day. And maybe perfection in that regard isn't something that you can actually get.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how these artists used to be able to do this, back in like the 1600s to 1700s during the Renaissance era, where they're literally starving. All they eat is like bread and water, and they've been painting for like 7 months and they're not even close to being finished. I'm like, how do you do that? Like
painting the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel or something. Spending years doing it.
I'm gonna get bored, but I'm a millennial, right? I need my ADHD, my dopamine, right? And these people can just be like, hey, as long as I'm not going to war and I get to go to a really fancy building and like painting, I'm happy, like it was a different time. But
it was.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was how that was for them, to fit in their society and be like, no, I just want to paint. That's that's all I want to do.
We saw what happened. You either have two different things. You're either Monet or you're Van Gogh. I'm not sure if you're familiar with art history, but like you're either Monet, you live like a happy-go-lucky life for the rest of your life, or you're Van Gogh, where you just like cut your own ear off. Yeah, art is suffering. Okay,
yeah, I like this sort of thing they used to have in the past, where like, the rich people would like sponsor the artists in the town and like pay for their whole lifestyle just to keep them painting or sculpting. And I wish we could bring that back.
Yeah, it's called corporate capitalism, but art. It hasn't changed that much, except, we get benefits now. So I've recently noticed that you have done a fair amount of self-published comics, and I'm really interested to know, have you actually been in the industry?
No, not professionally. Any comics that I've done is just myself, just self-publishing. I would like to work in comics, but I think I'm one of those artists that would very much like to be a cover artist and not do the interior.
Yes.
Which is probably very common.
Yes, because I first started getting into it and I was like, oh, I'll just like try inking a couple of pages. I'm like 1 page in and it took me like 2 days. I'm like, this is how do people do this for a time? This is ridiculous. You have to frame, you have to write, you have to do dialogue, you have to color, you have to ink. I'm like, oh my goodness. Have you had any encounters with other people in the industry, and then like have they talked about how this industry? Because I remember about a while back they were having this like comic Me Too thing where they were just talking about the working conditions. Would you say that, you've experienced the same thing, or you've known people that have experienced it? I've
definitely had mutuals online who I've seen complain about it, that, sort of echoing the statement that there's not much money in it to be, a livable job. Especially because it's so labor intensive. Like comic books is such a humongous amount of work. So you'd think, when I was a kid, I was reading comics all the time. That was sort of my way into being an artist. That's what I wanted my life to be.
Yeah.
But you were imagining that they were like these guys were rock stars, right? And they were like, they were making a good living doing this. So it's a little disheartening now to see the people who are working in the industry saying that they're not, making what they need to be paying their bills.
Yeah, I'm actually I don't know the details of this until I talk to someone that's actually been in it in the industry as like a contractor, because I see a lot of people that I look up to as an artist that only do covers, and I'm like, is cover work more lucrative? Because I imagine like the more in terms of just labor and intensity, that inking is more difficult, because like how many pages are in a comic? Like 20, 25?
Yeah, like the ones I've been doing myself are hitting about 30 pages, and it takes I mistakenly thought when I started this project, thinking that I was going to make my own comic book, that I thought I could bust out an issue in a couple months, but it's like, I'm lucky if I get one out every year.
Yeah, how long did the first issue of 88 take? Because I read that recently, and I was like, that's a lot. That's a lot of work. My goodness, how long did that take?
I started working on this in 2020 during the lockdown because I had a lot of time on my hands, like everyone else did.
Yeah.
But generally I would say it's about a solid 6 months that I put into each book. And that's what happens then after that is a period of burnout, because after going through that, and it's so much work and it's so labor intensive that for the next several months after I put an issue out, I don't even want to look at it again for a little while. It takes me a while to come back to the idea of, hey, let's work on the next book.
It's a character fatigue, right? You're drawing the same character over and over, especially if it's just 88 by herself all the time. I don't know if I'll ever, because I remember I kind of talked about doing one. This was like 2017, 2018. I attempted 2 pages and I was like, I'm gonna put this aside. I'll probably get back to this. It's been 7 years, 8 years, and I'm just like terrified to even begin. But yeah, I understand.
It's waiting for you.
Do you have mutuals that are willing to work with you to like make 88 like a full thing? Because I know you're still doing everything by yourself, right?
Yeah, maybe I do. I've never really brought it up. Like, it's definitely like it's a labor of love and a passion project, because this is a character in a story that I've been wanting to do for like a decade, for like 10 years. So it took me that long because I wanted so badly in the past to do something that would be perfect, and then the fear of it not being perfect stopped me from ever working on it. And this is a funny story. Right before COVID, I think the last Star Wars movie came out, The Rise of Skywalker, and nobody liked this movie. It was really it wasn't well received.
But
yeah, my point being that I saw someone online say, if this is what Disney is putting out, then why aren't you working on your own project?
Whoa.
Somehow Palpatine returned kind of thing.
What were they trying to imply?
Yeah, so I was actually quite inspired by that, and I was like, oh yeah, like, you're not going to make something perfect, but at least you can make something.
Yes.
It's better to have made it and it not be perfect than to have never made it.
What do they always say? Perfection is the enemy of good, or something like that, right?
The enemy of done.
The enemy of done. That's you're correct. Yeah. I've always said this to every student that I've taught so far, that the most important skill, and I've brought this up in other podcasts, the most important skill you ever learn as an artist is to be able to finish something. Because if you spend your whole time just doing studies and being good at one specific, like what do you call it, practical skill, then you'll only be ever good at a practical skill, and you'll only be good at a study. So you might as well be good at finishing something you're happy with than always be, one day I'll be good at this, then I'll work on something. You're never going to be good at it. Like, okay, I'm not saying that in a bad way. You're chasing the golden goose that doesn't exist when it comes to art.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because I want to be good at rendering, and some people say like, I love your rendering, but to me it's always that I could always be better. This one could always improve. This is never good enough. And that it's kind of like a self-defeating like cycle, where it's just like, I put something out, I'm not happy with it, and then people say like I like it, and then like I have to. I don't know if you've experienced this, Vash, where they're like, they really like this specific thing about this piece you did recently, but it's a part that you don't like, so you always
Yeah.
self how do I say it? Like you attack yourself. You're like, it could be better though. Like it's not that good, you know. Like you want to downplay it. It's like no, just if people say it's good, it's good. They like it. That's the important thing. At the end of the day, self-improvement comes later. But yeah.
Yeah, and the only way to get good at something is to do it a lot of times, lots of repetition.
Do a lot of repetitions by getting it done. Finishing.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
Yeah, finish a lot of times, a lot of things, and that thing gets better. Because I don't know about you, but I've learned a lot of things of like streamlining my work process by just finishing a lot of things quicker. As opposed to like I gotta get the face looking amazing. The face has to look like this, like this, like this. Have you seen there's like a lot of Japanese artists online where they always say RKGK. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
You know what that means?
I think it's like Rakugaki. It's like a doodle kind of thing.
Yeah, they say doodle, and it looks like the most amazing thing ever they've ever done. Like I can't even.
I'm so jealous of them. The way they just post those out of the blue, and you're just like, God damn, that's fantastic.
Hell yeah, it's like this is a doodle. What am I doing? Like, and then you look at it, and it's like, oh, it's because they worked really hard on the face. But then you look at the blouse or you look at the armor and it's just little scribbles. It's just like, oh, okay. But then you don't.
Yeah, I don't know if you relate to this. That do you ever go through these periods of time where you're just incredibly inspired? So you're drawing like every day, all day, and when a month has gone by and you're like, wow, I drew something like every day that month. That by the end of that month, those drawings are going so much smoother and so much better than they were at the start.
Yeah.
And like, have you experienced that?
I went to art school, and I know this is a weird tangent, but I'll come back, I promise. And I had a class called Gray Matters, and this Gray Matters was like, what they do is like they try to train your psychology around art. And I remember the teacher once said, the hardest part about art, about making art, is the blank canvas when you first start. Because when you don't know what you really want to do with it, you're hesitant. You don't understand the process of getting the skill of starting an art piece is harder than doing an art piece, because there's a lot of prep that's involved, right? Like, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. What's my influence? What am I referencing? What am I, and it becomes very like overstimulating, and it becomes a bit like exhausting. So I would say, like, yes, I agree. At the very start, it's always really, really hard. That's why I think did you ever do Inktober? Is it called Inktober?
Oh, a couple times I did.
Yeah.
Years ago, I did one in 2017, I think, where I really went at it. I was doing ink drawings every month. And,
did you do like the entire month, just 31 illustrations or whatever?
No, I've never completed an Inktober. To me, saying I've done Inktober means I did maybe 10.
I've done one in college, and I've done one like a couple of years after, but I've never also completed them. But I still think that the start, where it's just like if they give you a topic for the day, right? It's always like, okay, if I do it like this, how am I going to do the other one down the line that's almost exactly the same as this? So you're like kind of shuffling around with ideas of, can I do this now or should I save it for later? Is this good for now? Or can I do this the hesitancy is like the biggest wall, but once you're over the wall, it's just smooth sailing.
I've started in the past few years doing, sorry, didn't mean to talk over you.
No, it's okay.
I started in the past couple years to just start doing something that, like, I call them mindless doodles. Mm-hmm. And by mindless, I mean I start with no plan and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And I don't think about what it's going to be. And so I just start scribbling, doodling, coloring, just putting something down. And it always ends up becoming something. And sometimes they even become characters that I keep as OCs, and they stick around.
I notice you draw a lot of OCs,
yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit addicted to it at this point.
I can see it, yeah.
But those mindless drawings are so helpful for me because of the the blank canvas can be intimidating. And you sit and look at it and you think, I don't have ideas. I don't know what I want it to be. I'm not inspired right now. But if I just start drawing with no intention of it being anything, it kind of takes you off the hook a little bit. Like it'll just become what it is.
Yes, yes, I agree. So when I learned about the whole lesson of like the blank canvases is scary things, you know what they encourage people to do? Draw a scribble. It doesn't have to be anything. Just draw a line, and then the fear goes away because now you've already committed to putting a line on the canvas. That hurdle is gone. Whether you erase the line or not, you have made contact with it, and you are now your brain has like a lock that just like unlatches itself, and you go like, oh, you know what, that scribble could be something. Let me just work with that. And you know,
exactly.
Yeah, I kind of envy that you're able to still do scribbles, because I'm in this position where I've definitely overworked myself, and everything I do has to amount to something because I have to pay the rent, or I'm in between homes right now, so I'm helping my family try to afford a loan / mortgage. So everything I'm doing at the moment is going towards like, oh, this is going to pay for a home, this is going to houses, it's going to pay for a roof, it's going to pay for food. So I can't scribble anymore, unfortunately. That's why my work in progresses are very, very scribbly. It's just that's where it happens. I don't know if you're like me, where when we start a new project, there's like 8 layers of just the scribbles, and then they don't end up being anything. And then I just turn off all the layers, and the 9th layer ends up being the final one.
Yeah.
Are you the
definitely.
same? Or
yeah. I always try to do several of them, because if I go ahead with my first scribble, I always kind of don't like it. And even if I take it all the way to the end and it's fully colored and there's lighting and stuff, I'm still like, kind of flat. So if I keep doing it over and over, and I draw that same very rough scribble, and I do it like 6 times, that 6th one is always the best one. And I think that's very good advice.
Yeah. I always think this is like what is it? It's like when you go for like a run, you have your pre-warm up, right? You gotta like just the scribbles is just you like running in like running stationary, you're just like getting ready to go. It's like, okay, let's warm up. And then the 6th one is just full bolt, just go, just run.
Just go.
Yeah. I encourage the scribbling. It's nice. It defeats the blank canvas. The blank canvas is evil. Go and kill it. Make it messy. Make it rough. I think, it looks better with your scribbles on it anyway, right? Like
exactly. It's good for you, and also to sort of disconnect the idea that it has to be great immediately.
Yeah.
Because if you just get into scribbling and doodling, it can be bad, and you can just move on to the next one because nobody has to see it. That's just something for you and the canvas, and that's between the two of you. And so, the more you do it, the better it gets.
I'm also of the mindset that art is allowed to be ugly.
Yeah,
which is It's funny to say, because like most of the art I make is usually very. I don't want to claim it, but people like it because it's aesthetically mainstream appealing. But sometimes I do have that urge to just make something ugly. Have you drawn like weird creatures or like horrors beyond human comprehension and just go like, that's cool, I'm never gonna post it, but that's cool? Have you ever done that?
Yeah. I'm mostly the type of artist that will post literally everything. Like every little doodle I do usually goes up, unless it's just, warming up or something like that. But yeah, you've touched on something there that like nobody says it has to look good. There's no rules. Like you can draw the worst thing you've ever done. Who cares? Did you have fun doing it? That's great.
Yeah, it's a learning experience. Plus, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So everyone's everyone's a little different when it comes to these kind of things. I'm also very curious. Do you do this full time?
I do. I'm also in the film industry. So I work on like TV shows from time to time, but it's not very consistent. It's very difficult to get those jobs. So for most of the year, I am freelancing artwork myself to pay my bills. So it's important to me to know that I can do that. If as long as it's in my hands that I can support myself. That's very important. But I do have other jobs that I do. It's not just freelance artwork.
Would you mind letting us know what these are? Or are these like NDA work or contract work and stuff like that?
No, I do. I work in the art department, so we do graphics and we make signs and anything in the props that needs to be covered. We'll make logos for that sort of a thing. So that's something like I can use Illustrator. That's something that my skill set works for, as well as doing storyboards and concept art, which is something that I'm trying to get more of those jobs, and I do them from time to time. I don't know if you watched American Gods. I did storyboards for that show.
Oh, you did? Okay. I did not know that. So
yeah, I can send some to you. That was a fun one. So I do storyboarding. This past summer, I worked on a show on Fox called Accused. That was a courtroom show, and I got to do some concept art because they just needed some done, and I knew that I could do that. So that was really fun for me to try to expand my skill set and to try to do new things in the job because I've been doing it for a while. And that's the kind of thing I think I would more enjoy doing rather than doing graphics. But yeah, it's a fun business.
Yeah, it pays the rent. That's what it does.
It pays a lot more than commissions do.
Yeah, it affords you more opportunities, I would say that. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's also good for your resume.
Yeah, I always consider it to be half of my time. Like, I would usually say that I work half the year on a contract and half the year myself, just grinding commissions.
How did that happen? How did you get picked up to do this kind of work? Did you apply?
I went to film school.
Or were you approached? Sorry?
Yeah, I went to film school after college. I first went to for animation. I tried to learn to be an animator.
Right. Okay.
But when I got out of school for animation, it was just impossible for me to get hired. I was just sending my stuff out to everywhere I possibly could, and nothing ever came of it. And so then my backup was like, well, maybe I'll go try film school. Let's see if maybe that will turn into something.
You heard that? You hear that? Kids in college, drop out of animation right now and go to film school. No, don't do that. Pursue what you want. But I was also an animation student in college. I came out, the industry was flooded with animators and people that work 3D general stuff. It was. Were you 3D or 2D?
I did both. We did 2 years of 2D and a third year doing 3D.
Okay. But you would agree that it was a very oversaturated market. I think I graduated in 2011. It was the height of like animation and CGI, and there was no jobs to go around. I checked.
Yeah, I never did. Yeah. I never did work in animation. I wanted to, just never got anything.
But that was because of like a huge hole, a void in the market, right? Because like when was this? Like, were you around the same time? Graduate like 2011, 2012?
This would have been 2006, 2007.
Oh, you're much older than I am.
Not too much.
Because I graduated 2011, so it was like 5 years. But okay, regardless. Okay, back then, what's the big studio that did Castlevania? Was it Powerhouse? Was it? No, was it? Let me check this right now.
It might be. I'm not sure about that.
Castlevania. Powerhouse. It is Powerhouse Animation. They recently came into. Oh my god. Okay, no, they've been around since 2001, but they really took off around 2014. So yeah, I think maybe we're too early to the industry, because
I just missed it.
Yeah, there was another studio. I mean, could have gone to France, could have worked for Tiche, could have gone to
Arcane.
Yeah, now there's more opportunities than ever. Back then, it was like a couple of really big ones that everyone was trying to apply.
Yeah.
Heck, I was asked to apply for Weta. Do you know who Weta Digital is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was asked to apply for Weta. You know the average age of an Weta employee? They're in their late 40s. Like, why would they need me there? These are like the most veteran of veterans. These people are on their way to collect their pension already, on the way out. Like, I don't know.
Did you apply?
Heck no. because I had to go. I would have to live in New Zealand, and I would have to. It was impossible. I mean,
Yeah.
I checked their entry requirements, and it was like, oh, you need at least 12 years experience in the industry. I was like, this is not happening. So I just didn't try. I tried.
It's really cool that, you know, you often don't know who's working on, like, especially in animation right now, because every now and then you'll be, you know, just scrolling on Twitter or something, and you'll see one of your art friends or mutuals or something will just be like, oh, hey, I worked on Castlevania this year or something like that, and they'll post like a cool bit they
Yeah,
did.
they
And you're like,
disappeared
oh,
for 6 months. They disappeared
yeah,
for
really?
6
I
months,
had
like,
no
"Hey,
idea that you were doing that.
I think what's her name? The one that does a lot of Korra fan art worked on Castlevania. God,
Was it Denim Catfish or someone
Yeah,
else?
Denim Catfish. Yeah.
Yeah.
They disappeared for like almost a year, and then came out. It's like, yeah, oh, yeah, I worked on the Castlevania scenes. I was like, what the fuck? That's so cool.
Yeah.
Damn it. Oh.
People like that, they're just so talented. Like, you could imagine if you were in charge of doing the hiring, you'd be like, yeah, absolutely. We were talking earlier about, you know, describing art styles, and like Denim Catfish is one that you can recognize instantly.
Yeah.
You don't have to see the name or the icon. You see the post or the art and you go, oh yeah, that's them.
Yeah,
I know it.
For sure. I think that's what like the aim for a lot of artists is, just to be like recognizable just almost instantly. Like,
yeah. I hope that I have that. I don't know. I don't know if I do, but I would love
I don't know if I do either, but we'll get there. We're just hoping. How do you feel about the opportunities as a self-employed artist right now over there? 'Cause I know you're not in the States, you're in Canada at the moment, but like generally the people that work in Canada and the people that work in the US kind of have the same opportunities because they'll just go over with each other. I don't know what the current politics right now, but I'm assuming that's the case. But would you say that the opportunities over there right now for like looking for contract work is really difficult, or like is everyone trying to like employ as much as they can? How do you feel about this?
It seems difficult. I don't know what everyone's experience is, but with freelance, it feels like it's quite a hustle, and like it's a grind of going to have to go after it. Like, I don't have a whole lot of things offered to me. I try to put my name out there and for the people who are hiring, but you don't get a whole lot. You know, you can put your name in a lot of things and not much will pan out. But like, for instance, I did a couple issues of the Street Fighter swimsuit special for Udon, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And I was like, you know, kind of a dream come true to work on, to get to draw these famous characters that you grew up with. You still had to, I had to go after it. And then like, the next year I had to say, like, can I be in it again? Kind of hoping that they would call me to offer it to me or something. But then I just reached out and asked about it. I actually don't know if they did one again this year. But in that sense, like, each thing feels like something you have to chase it, and sort of sometimes it's just luck of hearing about it at the right time.
I was actually curious to talk about Udon. Does Udon approach people? Did they approach you at the very start, or did you approach them?
No, I was very lucky that I just saw a tweet. I saw a tweet they put out that said, "Hey, we're doing this issue. We want to, put some new blood into it. If you want to, send your stuff." Just lucky happened to see it. I know that Helixel got in that as well. And I think it's because we both just put our stuff on the tweet and said, "Hey, here's my stuff. What do you think?"
Oh, you just put it on the not even a DM.
Not even a DM. I just replied to the tweet, and then I almost missed the DM because I had my random DMs turned off. So yeah, when I did hear from Udon, I almost missed it.
Damn, you should let me know when they do it again. Because I thought they approach people, and I see all my friends get into it. I'm like, I guess I'm not worthy, so I'll just hold back and because
I think that's also a good lesson. It's these, they're not looking for you as much as you have to look for them.
Yeah. It's just so you don't know how the opportunities work anymore. Because like, I don't know if you're in this position, but I feel like the way that a lot of media is going these days, and a lot of how advertising works, I get approached constantly for stuff I don't care about. There's this company that was like, "Oh, we want to use your artwork for like an advertising like spiel thing," and I was just like, "What is it for?" And they said it's like, oh no, we're doing like a billboard service in like California or something. It's like, why do you need my artwork for then? I don't understand. And then they stop responding. So I'm just getting like millions of these things per day, and I feel like it's all about brand. What do you call it? Like they're trying to use you as a stepping stone to like shout louder if they decide to work with you. So
Yeah.
I don't know which ones are legit, which ones are actually good to go through anymore, because it's like it's so involved. And Udon's the only one that stuck out to me just because like, well, Udon has been around for a very, very long time. So and
Yeah, like you
all
know
my friends
what
work
you're
with-
getting. Because
Yeah.
I've got that too, where you get messages that they just don't seem very legit,
No.
and so you don't really want to, you don't really want to respond and get into it, unless you know it's like a brand that you are aware of and you trust them.
Are you aware of this brand called MX Dolls or something like that?
No.
Oh, wait, what? Is that what they're called? Give me a second here. They've been like harassing a lot of people.
Yeah.
As a brand, they've been harassing people. Emlon Doll? Does that ring any bells?
I don't know them. What do they do?
Okay, they do sex toys.
Oh.
Yeah, they do sex toys, and they approach almost any artist that draws like risque stuff. So
Yeah.
I draw risque stuff, so they've approached me, and I keep telling them I'm not interested because they want to make sex toys, and they want to use me as branding.
They want
They're
you
not
to design them, or
no,
to
no, no,
just
no, no. They
advertise
want
it?
me to signal boost their posts when we do a collab. Like I would draw their characters, and I'm like, I'm not interested. Leave me alone. I'm not interested. Leave me alone. So they didn't really get it, and they were like, oh, we're just tell us your number. Give us how much do you want? And I'm like, I'm not interested. Just leave me alone. So I blocked the account because they were very, very persistent. Then they made a new account and contacted me again with the
Really?
same copy paste thing. And like they've never talked to me before. They act like we've never talked before. And I told them, no, go away, fuck off. I don't want to talk to you. Their account started getting banned because everyone was reporting them for spam. Because they loved doing that. They were attacking literally. And recently, they've made so many accounts that even Twitter is flagging them as bots when they post, because they don't even DM people anymore for collabs. They just post it in your comments. They would just like, hey, this looks great. Do you want to like collaborate with us, Emlon Doll, for like a sex toy? And everyone's like, no, go away. And recently,
I'm gonna put that on my tweet.
yeah, I'll send this to you.
You just reminded me that I got a comment, not related to the sex toys.
Yeah.
But I used to do a lot of Tomb Raider fan art, like Lara Croft.
Yes.
And, and the Tomb Raider Twitter account, instead of sending a private message, just put one under the post. It was like, can we repost this?
I was like, yeah.
I was like, I just forgot to respond.
Oh damn. Okay. Yeah, it's really weird when big brands approach you.
I also don't use Twitter much anymore, so I kind of missed it.
My attachment with Twitter has kind of fallen to the wayside just because of generally what happened. But yeah, just going back to what we're talking about. I'm just gonna wrap it up because it was a weird tangent. But yeah, this company, I sent you the DM. They started like, someone responded, it's like, okay, how about I'll do it for you, but it's gonna be $3,000 and I want 30% of the cut of the sales. And they were like, what? The person responding, the artist, was like, no, I'm being reasonable. If this is how you want the business to go, this is the money I'm asking for, which is perfectly reasonable pricing. And then they used a Chinese like slur, which only Chinese people know about, and it's basically going to ask like, hey, I hope your mom dies. I hope your mom unalives herself. And I was like, yeah, you can definitely tell who's working under this company, because like, Jesus, like this is cringe behavior. Yeah, if you get approached by, if you're an artist right now and you get approached by a company called Emlon Dolls, I'm not saying like, hey, don't interact with them. I'm just saying be careful for what you're getting into, because they're the ones that are a little bit on shaky ground here, and not a lot of artists are enjoying them being around.
Okay, yeah, I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, we'll just quickly talk about this, because I think this is a very like big topic that everyone's worrying about. Would you say, especially since you work in contract now and you're trying to apply for these companies and stuff like that for just a little bit of work, would you say that AI has affected your work opportunities? Are people
It's a
hiring
good
less?
question. I don't know
Yeah.
for sure if it has, but I do know that it seems like there's less work out there than there used to be.
Mm,
And like, I know that if I open commissions, I know how many I used to get, 4 years ago and 2 years ago,
yeah.
and that the amount of interest is less nowadays than it used to be.
Mm,
And that's like, the cost of living is going up and times are tough for everybody and that too. But that makes you wonder if AI is affecting that for the amount of people who want to have artwork made by somebody. Maybe there's, a number of those people who would rather generate it themselves.
this is a very like interconnected topic, right? Like everyone's gonna have a different opinion on like how this is actually turning out. But in the art industry, I'm glad that people still, in a way, treasure human artists over generated ones, because
Yeah.
I do see this amongst even normal people where there's like an over exposure to AI art that they don't like it that much anymore, because it's like
Yeah.
I've seen this happen to one of the fandoms where it was what was it? It was like an anime. Oh no, it was like a gacha game that just got announced, and I was in the subreddit for that, and people were like flooding the subreddit with fan art, quote unquote, of a new character that just got announced like 7 minutes ago, and it was just flooding it with like artwork, quote unquote, that looks like it's already been like worked on for 30 hours, and everyone's like, come on, get this shit out of here. Like, we know it's AI slop, get it out of here. Nobody's even drawing this, it just got announced. So
Yeah, you can't do it that fast.
yeah, like 7 minutes, like nobody's making this in 7 minutes. Like,
No, like fan artists work quickly. Every time there's like a Nintendo Direct, like, give them a couple hours
Okay.
and the fan artists are on there. They're so fast.
yeah,
But, yeah, I agree with the AI. I've been seeing people complaining now about AI generated video games, that they go, oh, this game is AI generated, and like, I don't even know how that works, but it sounds like something I don't want to play.
Yeah, that one sucks because I've seen it, and it's not a video game. It's what did it call it? It's like AI hallucination. It doesn't even it's like in Minecraft. If you walk up to a tree in Minecraft and then you hit the tree in the AI video game I'm talking about, and then you turn your camera around to look at what's behind you, and then you turn back around to look at the tree. The tree's most likely gone because the AI does not remember once anything leaves the screen, because it will always make something new. So there is just no it's not coherent at all. It doesn't understand, which I don't understand why you would make this. You're not saving money. You're just making yourself look really stupid right now, like these like huge companies. But
well, they're all jumping in, and it's sad to see, because I'm very much against it. I don't like AI, and I don't want people to use it. But then, like, we've seen this happen a bunch of times in the past few years where, even the programs that, the art programs are all going, hey, we've added AI generating. And then the websites that host the art go, hey, we've added our own AI generator. And then they act surprised when there's backlash from the art community.
It's
that, you like, how dumb can you be to not expect that the artists are not going to like that?
yeah.
But we were speaking before about working in the film industry, and the topic has come up at my job about AI generated graphics and things for film, and AI generated concept art. Like, I'm part of online communities for people who work in film, and there has been posts of people saying, like, how do we feel about the idea of bringing AI into the art department?
How do we feel?
And how do we feel about it? Just to open the dialogue. And, a surprisingly high number of people are saying that they want to use it, and that they are saying, oh, I've already been using it to do this sort of a thing.
Oh.
And it scares me, because I'm on the side of the artist. I want the artists to be making living wages. I want them to get paid. I want them to be able to pay their rent by doing artwork. And if you are a concept artist, you know, who that's how you make your money, and then the studio says, oh, we don't need concept art because we generated it, then that's a person who's now not making their living because they replaced it. And I know from the type of graphics that I make at work, I've never generated anything on AI, but I know it would be easy to. You know, I've seen what people are making with it. And when it comes to making a logo, there's tons of logos you're seeing out there now on sports teams and products that you can kind of tell are AI generated.
I've seen that as well, yeah. It's heading in a very weird direction, and I want to say like, oh, unionize, but then literally they'll just let you go.
Yeah.
Someone made this like observation about like how AI is actually, I don't want to get political because it's going to be a very difficult topic for people to listen to as well, but AI actually has one purpose, and it's to make wages cheaper by not hiring anyone. And it is essentially anti-working class. Like if you are part of the working class and AI is replacing your job, it is inherently a very dangerous anti-human piece of technology. It is not making your life better. It is making your life worse as the after side effect of companies utilizing AI to pay less wages to people. Because when it comes to paying a wage, companies will see it as a loss, but they almost never see what it does to an economy. When you don't start to not pay your workers, they cannot participate in the economy. They cannot spend their money. Essentially, what happens is the opposite, where they actually hold on to their money and they don't recycle their money into the economy, and thus the economy comes to a halt. So these companies would see it's like, oh, I just won't hire an artist. Okay, I won't hire an artist because I'll just generate all the images that I'll ever need. Okay, you stop paying this artist. Okay, this artist also consumes the media that you're making. This artist cannot afford that anymore, because chances are you're already say charging maybe how much is Netflix charging these days? Like $20, $19, $20,
$20.
Yeah, something like that. They're already charging that much money. Them using AI will not make that cost of the subscription lower. In fact, they would use this as an opportunity to make it go even higher up, right? So this artist that you just fired, chances are they won't even sub to your platform anymore, and then you just don't get that much. You don't get that much out of it. All these other people around the world that's also having their, like, say, corporate, their office, their any job currently that we know of that utilizes AI, like, say, generating Excel spreadsheets and all these things. These people also are probably getting laid off because we're living in the times with the highest, like, unemployment rate and layoff rate on the planet in history. And these people are no longer participating in the economy. Guess what? Less people are buying your products, less people are watching your movies, less people are watching your shows. You are creating the problem you're trying to solve. I don't know. I went off on a very far tangent on that one, but I'm pretty sure if you're working class, you would kind of agree that that's a really, really bad idea. But if you're a CEO that's listening to this, why are you here? Secondly, be smarter, but that's probably not in your job description. So I don't know. Like, it sucks. I don't have an answer.
The purpose of it, like, everything wants to be done as cheap as possible and as fast as possible. And AI gives them that in both regards. It's much cheaper and it's much faster, but it's not putting any money into the economy by hiring someone, you know, and paying them to do it. So it's I think it's awful, and I know why they want to do it, because it's the whole name of the game. Just do it fast and do it cheap, right? They want the budgets to go down. But even outside of AI, like, this is an instance where it's directly replacing something that, like, you and I do, you know, but not to the same degree, because, like, you can generate something that kind of looks like somebody drew it, and unfortunately they're getting a lot better than they used to be. But you can't generate something that feels like it was made with any soul or any heart. It doesn't come generated with a point. Like I saw someone posting on Reddit. They were posting a comic that I thought they'd drawn the comic, and then I started reading the blurb under the comic where they said that they had generated it, and they were talking about the last panel of the comic and saying that I'm not happy with this last panel. I kept putting in different prompts, and
Ew.
you know, it wasn't coming out the way I wanted it to. And I'm thinking, of course it's not. Like, learn to draw it. That if you want to be able to control what that panel looks like, you can do that if you take the time to learn to do it.
Yeah.
But so even outside of artwork, in terms of these things replacing jobs, like we've all sort of seen it in like the movie theaters and the grocery stores, where all the people that used to work there to take your ticket or to, when you're buying your groceries, has all been sort of replaced by an automated booth.
Yeah, and it didn't make the groceries cheaper.
No, the prices are never going down.
Yeah, you're employing, you're letting go of human workers to cut on your wages, yet your cost of product is still really high. So you're making more money than, I'm not saying you, the company is making more money than ever.
Yeah. And then they'll laugh about it and brag about it and say, hey, record profits.
Yep.
Let's pat ourselves on the back. We got record profits, everybody.
Yeah, they're doing that here too. Like we have so many reports of like one specific, because, okay, I don't know how it is in Canada, but in Australia, we have a dual monopoly on the market for groceries. There's only two companies.
Really?
Yeah, one is Coles and one is Woolworths. And they're both evil. They're both not good. But there is a lesser evil being Coles. But Woolworths has notoriously been investigated and proven that they have been price gouging since COVID. They've been price gouging and hiring less people, installing more machines, and having even worse products than ever. Yet they have made record profits year over year in the billions. And everyone's like, what the fuck is happening? My eggs are really expensive. Why would I go shopping there? So what they essentially started doing was buying up all the other groceries that are like local and just replacing them with more Woolworths. Everyone knows they're bad, but we don't have an option. We just don't have an option to go somewhere else. So yeah,
we have that same scenario with the like cable internet companies. In Canada, there's only two. It's just Rogers and Bell. That's it. There's no other options to go from. And because of that, it's the same thing. Because I remember years ago talking to someone in another country and sort of them saying that like, oh, it doesn't cost that much to have the internet. And it was like, well, here it does. Because these two companies keep popping the prices up because they're the only two that you can go with.
Yeah. Look, we live in a post-capitalist hell. I never expected this like podcast to go in this direction, but hey, we're here. We're talking about it now. We live in a post-capitalist hell. Going back to the art AI thing, is it gonna get better? I don't know. Here's my weird solution that'll never happen. Okay, you make AI programs. Someone makes an AI program that's so good. Unfortunately, you have to fight fire with fire at this point. You have to make an AI program that's so good nobody can tell anymore, and then you make it a paid platform. How much is it? As much as it is to actually commission a real artist. But then it's actually a platform that actually just generates art based off real like artists that are doing art, and you just have to wait. It's called commission work, okay? But you just it's not gonna happen. But basically, the only reason why AI is being used so much right now is because it is free, right? Isn't Stable Diffusion free right now, or DALL-E or whatever? So everyone's using it. Everyone and their mom is using it, and they're like, why would I ever pay someone for it? Once you start monetizing that, once you start like say like you must pay a subscription, or everything that is like you have to pay extra to be able to use licensed work in your prompts and stuff like that, people will just not do it anymore, and they'll just go back to like normal people. Because once you start making a fun thing paid for, once you take away something that used to be free and ask people to pay for it, nobody likes it, and everyone will stop using it.
That's what happened on Twitter when they said now you have to start paying for the check mark or whatever.
Yeah,
like, nah, it used to be free. But the most common thing I hear from people who do use AI is they always say, well, it's here to stay. You're going to have to get used to it.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to. I'm not happy about it.
It's here to stay. Doesn't mean I have to like it.
That's it.
I can hate it for as long as it's here.
I think it's going to, unfortunately, become more common. I think a lot of industries are going to start using it. But I think that there's always going to be artists, I don't think that's going to get wiped out. I think people, because we are alive on this earth and our souls want to express themselves, and that's never going to go away. And it might become less common, but we crave that. We crave expressing ourselves to each other and creating things. And I think that, AI is throwing kind of a wrench in that, but at some point that's coming back. Like, humans are always going to want to do that.
Yeah. You know what they said about, that old song from the 80s, Video Killed the Radio Star?
Yeah.
Video killed the radio star. Did it kill radio? Or did we all move on to Spotify? Because it, no matter what, that it was one form of media killing another form of media, quote unquote. Did it completely kill radio? Not really. People still use radio when they're going out commuting to work. It's still there. But what happened was that radio changed. Radio turned into Spotify. Radio turned into YouTube. I know a lot of people when they're just walking to get the groceries, or they're going somewhere in their car and stuff like that, they always had music on. They always had a podcast on, whether they were looking at it or not. That's what radio is right now. And I believe with creative visual artists such as ourselves, that I don't think we're going anywhere. I think we're going to change. We're going to evolve the form a little bit. We're going to be going in a direction that's going to work around the mass consumption media that is AI. And we're probably, look, I don't want us to bring NFT back, okay? I don't want us to bring NFT back. That was an awful time for a lot of artists. I'm glad that fad is gone. I'm hoping the AI fad will also go away eventually when people get tired of it. But I think we're still here to stay, because people are fickle. Is that the right word? People, you give a lot of something someone wants, eventually they're not going to like it that much anymore, and they're going to crave something else. Like, you can go to McDonald's and have a burger for like probably, actually I don't know, well, how much am I paying? $6? You're also probably paying like $6 Canadian for that, right? Or
not these days. God, they're asking for $20 for a meal now.
No, not a meal. Sorry, just a hamburger. I know it's really expensive. We're paying the same. Canada and Australia has monopoly money. Okay, it doesn't mean anything. But yeah, you could go to a McDonald's and have like a $6 burger, or you can go have yourself a really nice double-deck cheeseburger from a locally owned place. You know it's going to be really good for $12. 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to go for the $12. Yes, it's more expensive, but if I'm already just like counting my pennies on a McDonald's hamburger, I'm not going to a McDonald's to I'm going to save up a bit. I'm going to have a good time. And I think that a lot of people will eventually want that same experience with art as well, where I could generate it, but if I pay someone that I actually look up to, that I actually like want to eventually become, and someone that I admire, and if I pay them to do a character, my OC that I actually care about, and I have to pay this much amount of money, I'm gonna do it, because I feel I want to believe in people's desire to help one another. And yes, it's a cruel, dark world out there, but I believe that people are good. And I believe that people will see that eventually I could generate it, or I could pay someone to do it because I care about the person. And that like worldwide shift will eventually just happen over time, because overexposure to AI. Yeah. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. Will it come to pass? We can only hope. But hope is better than, I would say, being very down about it, especially as an artist. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I've done a lot of commissions, and I've also been on the other end and commissioned a lot of people to draw art for me. And that is just, I get such a thrill out of that because I want to see their art style and I want to see how they interpret it. But a part of that also is this very nice feeling that you are supporting an artist, give them a few $100s and see the work that they put out. I heard a great line about AI that I'm stealing. This is not quoted to me, but it said that if you couldn't be bothered to make it, why should I be bothered to look at it? Or in the case of like if they used like an AI generated script for a movie, to say if you couldn't be bothered to write it, why would I be bothered to watch it?
True. Yeah. That's a really good quote, actually. I'm gonna steal that from them.
Yeah, steal that too. I stole it.
I'm gonna say I made it. This is mine. I am the AI now. It's mine. But yeah.
But it just says it all, because it's like, hey, look, to say, hey, look what I made. Like, you didn't make it. So what value does it have? Why should I give my money or my time to something that you didn't put in any time or effort into?
If you didn't care, why do I care?
Exactly.
Yeah. I won't appreciate something you didn't work hard on. Oh, the prompts are hard. Bitch, you wrote a sentence. Okay, okay, that's ableist. It's a little bit ableist. Like, not everybody can write a sentence, but like, generally speaking, the majority of the world can write a sentence. But yeah, I want to end it on a good note. That's a really good note. If you didn't care, why do I care? Right? So yeah. I just want to wrap it off with something really fun. Asuka or Rhea Ripley?
Oh, we're getting the wrestling questions.
Yeah, which one? Who would win?
I am a lifelong Asuka fan. I'm a huge fan of Asuka. I hope she comes back soon. She's been out injured for quite a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Rhea Ripley. She's fantastic. I've been watching wrestling my whole life, so I'm a big fan of both of them. Big Asuka fan.
Yeah, I watched wrestling when I was a kid. That was like the Kurt Angle days when he was number one.
Kurt and Brock.
Early, with Eddie Brock and all that. So I'm not caught up with all the new people, the Cody Rhodes and all that. I'm not caught up at all. But was Asuka from the what is it? NJPW? Was she from NJPW?
No, she worked on a lot of different places in Japan, and she was kind of like a freelancer, which was kind of neat. Oh, like she would just go around to different places, and she eventually started her own Japanese promotion where she was the one booking the shows.
So she was a contract worker like us.
Just like us, exactly. I'm a big wrestling fan, and that sort of carried over into me just recently, kind of making up my own wrestling characters as OCs and drawing them.
Yeah, I've seen those. What's the blue mask luchador what's her name again?
Blue Corazon.
Blue Corazon. Yeah, I saw that one poster you did where it's like mimicking the vintage retro posters. I was like, that looks so cool. I want to try making them too.
Yeah, that was fun. I put that as the back cover on the last comic I put out.
Yeah, because I imagine people will love to have these kind of posters in their homes, and maybe you should consider selling them too. Who knows? But
yeah, I should. We didn't get to talk about it, but like, do talk about the exhaustion of being an artist online and all the stuff that you have to make, because you have to post your work in 17 different places, and you have to make merch stores and t-shirts and prints, and that can be a lot. But going back to wrestling, I think that's a connection in my head, because they are fun to draw, because they have these really colorful costumes and these cool logos, and they're really just superheroes. And when you grow up as a comic book kid and reading the X-Men and drawing those characters, to then become a wrestling fan, it just feels like it's just the same thing. It's exactly the same thing, and they're fun to draw.
Yeah, I don't know where I read this one, but I remember someone saying that wrestling is like modern day Greek god epics. Of those like giant statues of like the Greek gods in their stories and all that. Like, that's what wrestling is. Everything is just larger than life. Everything has like a storyline. Everything is dramatic, and everything is just like, you look at these people. They don't look like normal people. They're huge. they're bigger than life, and they do this incredible feats of like human physical prowess, and it's like, yeah, like you said, like superheroes. And
Yeah.
I know they're not real, but I enjoy that the story they make is engaging. Did you see
Yeah.
the Vince McMahon documentary thing?
Yeah, on Netflix. Yeah, I did
Yeah,
watch
did
that.
you see that one?
Yeah.
Was it like shattering for you? Because I saw that, I was just like, damn, that's crazy.
That was nuts. And it was not shattering to me because he always seemed like when you watch the show, like he wasn't really hiding any of this stuff. He would just put it on TV, as
Yeah,
he's kind of like a sexual predator type guy.
yeah,
And
I don't,
so and these
yeah.
stories come out in real life, and you're like, oh shit, I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, everyone was just like, I thought he was playing a character. Why isn't it a character?
Yeah.
Why is he like? He's not in charge of the WWE anymore, right? I mean, it's his daughter or something that's in charge now. So
Yeah, he had to step down after all that shit came out, and it's honestly been way better since he's been gone. Like, for someone like me that's been watching for so long, one of the struggles you've had for years is just you get so tired of Vince and the things that Vince would do. And then you're just like, God, this show would be better if he wasn't around. And then like it almost became like this kind of a pipe dream that you're just like, yeah, but he's never gonna go away. And so just the past, I don't know, 2 years he's been gone, and the quality of the show has gone up so much since that time. It's I would not hesitate to say at this point it's better than it's been in 25 years.
yeah, I mean, like I only started like paying attention again ever since Cena went turncoat or something like that, right? I saw it and I was like, whoa, whoa, actual character development? That's crazy.
I was there. I went to that show. It was in Toronto. I
Yo.
was at the Sky Dome. I went to that elimination chamber. That was great.
Yeah, that was nuts. Big hopes, that's something AI will never touch. Wrestling. I think they're pretty safe. Unless they'll start, what's that one movie with boxing robots, Real Steel? Something like that. Have you seen that?
But you know what they have been doing?
What?
They've been doing AI generated commercials. They've been doing AI generated logos. Everyone's going for it. Everyone's jumping in.
But I mean,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I guess it's commercials and it's not the actual event. I mean, yeah. That kind of sucks. I don't think sports companies would actually be aware about the whole AI. I don't think they care. Especially that demographic.
I don't think so.
Care,
No, they don't care at all. But I've heard that you can't copyright something that is AI generated because it is fed by other images, which is an interesting sort of twist to all that. To have all these things being generated and to wonder, like, but if you can't copyright it, if Hollywood was to make an AI script, to be like, well, you have to have it copyrighted. You can't just say that it's not. That's very. It's a whole other interesting conversation.
Yeah, I think that would be like a legal hell domain thing. The lawyers in Hollywood would definitely fight for it, especially if they're gonna make a lot of money out of it. I'll be interested to see how that goes. Seeing as how the EU has already, was it the EU, the European Union has recognized that AI artwork cannot be copyrighted. Was it them or was it another? I don't remember.
I think so.
It's a little bit steps in the right direction, but that still doesn't offer protection for the rest of us small people, right? We don't even have protection by ourselves, so it's still an ongoing problem until we eventually find out. I also don't want art to go the way of like Napster. You know Napster? Like,
yeah, I remember Napster.
Because I've been to a couple of like websites where I'm like, oh, this art looks really good. I want to save that as reference. It's a low-res version, so I can't print it, right? So I tried to save, but I right-click on the page and it doesn't let you like interact with anything. And I was like, oh, I guess that's cool, but I can't save it as a reference, and now I totally forgot what it was. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because like, yes, people can't. The layman that doesn't know how to inspect the page, whatever, can't grab the image. So it would be safe for them to not get the image, but like AI programs would scrape it anyway. But it offers a certain level of security and protection, but I don't know if that's the way I want art to go, because I feel like people generally want to learn from each other. and then it's difficult.
Do you ever do that thing that people were doing for a while? I remember what they called it, where it was like glazing your art or
Yeah.
something. It was put something like a process over it to make it so that AI couldn't read it, or I wasn't quite sure what that was. Did you ever mess with that?
I've talked to a couple of people about it. Helixel was using it. So what it does is it just puts like an oil filter that's really hard to see on top of your image, and humans can't really see unless you're really looking for it. Humans can't really see it that well, but to an AI scraping program, when they see it, they see just a garbled mess. They can't understand what they're looking at. But the downside of using that is that while your artwork does look a little bit deep fried, if you notice it's there, but if you don't notice it's there, it's fine. And it's a lot of processing power to glaze your artwork. I don't know if they've updated it since, but when I was glazing one of my artworks, I had to leave the computer on for like, I think 10 minutes, just constantly using
it's like
100%.
It's like running a render or something.
Yeah, it's trying to like calculate how to properly do it or something, and it was using 100% of my GPU to do it. So the computer was unusable for 10 minutes, and I was just like, okay.
Wow. There's some side to this AI NFT business that I don't understand, is that idea that it is like incredibly bad for the environment. People keep saying that it's like, oh, you're destroying rainforests or something to do this, which is a whole nother knock against it. But it's kind of wild to think about something requiring that much energy.
Yeah, because the human perception of like resource use is broken. We don't equate how much we're actually paying to do something anymore. So like how many is it to generate like an image? I think I recently saw a video about this, but like to make one image from Stable Diffusion would use about 500 and something hours of phone battery to generate an image. It will keep your phone alive for 500 and something hours, something like that.
Jesus.
Yeah,
it just feels sometimes that we're just rushing we're just rushing to kill the planet and get to the end of the world, get Skynet going.
Yeah, it's like what's that, the frog in a pot? By the time the frog realizes it's being boiled alive, it's too late. You can't jump out anymore. That's what's happening. Human mass consumption media has distracted us from the problem of global warming, unfortunately. Yeah.
On some level too, I really respond and respect effort. I like seeing something that someone put a lot of effort into, and I really admire people trying to get really good at something, you know? And AI is kind of going against that, and it would make me sad to think of a young person who might be interested in wanting to do artwork going that route instead, because it's less work. And in the case of working on comic books and stuff, to have someone say, well, why don't you AI generate your panels, or AI generate the backgrounds or something like that? I like the effort of doing it. That's worth something. It's worth something to put in effort to get good at something. And if you spend all day working on something, it feels like you created something that means something in the time that it took, and the effort and your talent and skill that you put into it. I think that's valuable. And I think that's another reason I don't like this AI, is because it's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
I like to see people who are really good at the thing that they decided to be good at. Whether that's, who knows, you make artwork, or you want to be a writer, or you're knitting or cooking, whatever it is. I really, I admire that. I admire people getting really good at it. And so that's part of me as an artist, is I want to be really good at that. And so I've given a lot of my life's hours to doing that, and to getting better. That's my pursuit. That's my pursuit of to get really good at something. I really, I really respect that.
What is it called? It's like we love the stories of people facing adversity. Is it adversity? Like it is an insurmountable, like really difficult task that people are doing, and overcoming those odds is more inspiring. It's more, we just love to see it, right? I mean, that's how the human spirit is like. You take that out where someone just like, oh, I didn't really have to learn any of these, I just typed it into prompt. People will appreciate you less. People just
you didn't do anything to earn it.
that impressed. Yeah.
And you see it in all kinds of ways. Like if you watch, you watch Michael Jordan playing basketball, and you're like, that guy he's the best at it. The best to ever do it, and that's really cool. And the most common question that I've been asked as an artist, I actually wonder if you might get the same question all the time.
Yeah.
Is people asking, how can I get really good at this really quickly? 99% of the questions I've gotten, and I've been doing this a long time, has been, how do I get really good at this really fast? And no one wants to hear the answer. And the answer is you can't. The answer is you can get good at this with a lot of time and effort and honing that skill and getting really good at it. But that comes from years and years and years and years of doing it over and over and over again. And I can feel that when I say that as the response, that's not what they wanted to hear.
Yeah.
So it kind of leads you back into that AI thing, that's exactly what they're asking for. How can I create this image without any effort?
I've had that question asked before, and I've come up with a really, really good answer that people have mixed reactions to, but at least it's not like they don't like hearing it. It's that, okay, if they ask like, how do I get good at this really, really quickly? You develop an obsession. When you're obsessive over something that you really enjoy, the perception of time is different.
Yeah.
When you really, really want to be good at something or really want to do something a lot, and then you do it a lot, it doesn't feel like work, because I still have this, it's a very core memory of mine, and I told myself to make it a core memory when I had it. It was in 2011. This was 2 houses ago. I was in my tiny little room in the corner with I was hunched over my tablet, and I was drawing one of my early Life is Strange pieces, and I was like struggling to draw the hands, and I just thought to myself, I can't wait to get good at this, because I know eventually I'll get good at it. And that became a core memory for me, because am I good at hands now? I have room for improvement, but I'm definitely better than when I first started, because I think having that core memory of like, it's not saying I wish to be good at drawing, it's I hope one day I'm going to be good at this, because you have given yourself the permission to keep doing this for as long as it takes. You have given yourself permission to do it, rather than a wish, which is more of an accident, that you might accidentally become good one day, because then you leave it up to like, oh, I don't have to work on it because eventually I'll get good at it. Yeah. But if you say to yourself, I hope one day that I'll be good at this, it's a different mindset that opens up in your brain, where it's just that I'll just keep doing it. It's hard, it sucks, I'll just keep doing it, because I know eventually if I do it a lot, down the line, without realizing it, I'm going to be pretty good at it. Because yeah, that's just how it works. How long did it take? 9 years. 10 years. Did I feel that? Not really. Because going back to what art is, it's an obsession. If you wanted the end product, you're not obsessed with it. You just want to make stuff, pretty things. Whereas most, if not artists, are people that are obsessed with creation. They want to make. The act of making is what makes them do the thing that they love. And
yeah, that's the fun part.
Yeah, you take that away, and chances are nobody's ever going to be able to do anything. The human obsession to do something is what got us to the moon. Like, okay, well, yeah, political like pain, but like that was just like, we don't want the Russians to get there first. But yeah, that's it. It still was an obsession. The first person to go to space and everything was just like it started with an idea that someone at one point looked up at the stars and said, I want to touch that one day, and they did. So no matter how long it took, we got there, and I feel like art will go the same way. As long as there's people that obsess with creating and making and just generally doing it for the sake of doing it, art can't die. Art cannot die. Yeah.
Also, it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun to do.
It's fun to suffer and spend long nights screaming at the screen. But yeah.
I think when I was a kid, this was the most fun thing that I had to do. Like, on a random Saturday, I'm 5 years old, I would rather be coloring pictures than playing outside. And I think I just never stopped. And it's always been the most fun thing for me. Still to this day, if I go a while without drawing, I feel bad. I feel bad internally, and I'm just like, something feels wrong. It's just like, you got to draw something.
No, you're a workaholic.
Like, it centers me in a nice way. It lets me like fill into a smaller world that I can control. And it's the process of drawing is still very fun for me. And you touched on it there to say, if you're going to generate something, you missed all the fun. That was the fun part, was making it.
The fun part. I just want to end on a good note that people are feeling very demotivated about this, but people will continue to create no matter what happens. Like, heck, we're still going backwards in terms of technology. It's like we have the best cameras in the world right now, with the most AI assisted cameras in the world. You know what's popular with kids these days? I have two sisters that are 10 years younger than me, so I am aware of another generation in my house. These kids are obsessed with digicams now. You know, the cameras we used when we were younger, they're obsessed with it.
Digital cameras?
Yeah. They love
Really?
it. They love flash photography when it's like completely just bakes, like just they go to a club and they take a photo and it just completely bakes everyone in like white light. They love it. And they love the digicam videos because it makes them like, oh, it makes it look like the early 2000s. And I'm like, why do you say it like that? Oh, the 2000s, like 20 years ago. I was like, oh my God. You know, people will always yearn for something that people enjoyed using that was better back in the day. Will people yearn do people yearn for MySpace? Not really. So will people yearn for AI in 20 years? AI generate images? Most likely not. Because people will be oversaturated with it.
Yeah.
So
that's hilarious that people are going back to the digital cameras. Yes. I saw a post about that on Instagram where it was like, get this amazing vintage shots by buying an old digital camera.
Yeah. You know, it's actually causing a problem because these cameras are running out of stock because nobody makes them anymore. And I have a camera that I had as a kid that's sitting in one of my boxes here. I looked it up online and it's worth like $200 now. I spent like $40 on it because nobody makes it, so it's low on stock, and whatever people have left just rises up in value. And I'm pretty sure it's a fad. It's going to go away and it's going to go back to being worth nothing. But yeah, going back, it's like trends are cyclical and people will get tired of AI, and I don't think artists should worry about that. We've been drawing since like people are putting hands on cave paintings on walls. We're never going to get rid of that. That's always going to be around. And who knows that we're eventually going to see one of your pinups on the wall somewhere like 20,000 years from now. It's still going to be there. Like
you could.
Yeah. Please.
That's one of the reasons I really enjoy making actual comic books and printing them and shipping them out. You know, I throw a couple stickers in the bag, and like just knowing that it's a physical thing, and like, you know, that's going to be there until it withers away, but like it exists.
It's real. You hold it. It's tangible, and that's why I'm really into. Here, I'll show you. This is just a quick. Nobody can see this because it's my webcam, but I'll turn on my camera. This came in the mail today. These are real. If you can see my camera.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they're physical trading cards. Eventually, people are going to see this when I advertise it, but like they've got foil on it, so they shine.
Oh wow,
like that.
How do you tell it where the foil goes? Is it like another layer?
Yeah, it's another layer you put on top, and you just tell them like, I want this foil with this specific color on that layer, and it's okay. The background is also foil, but it's kind of hard to see. But like, yeah, it was really fun, and making this just makes me want to keep making more things. And I think that's the constant obsession, because I recently got into card games, and it was just a constant obsession, and Is this cost a lot of money? Yeah. Do I expect to make a lot of money from it? No. But it's fun, and I'm really excited to get this into people's hands. And I think that there's just this kind of mindset that a lot of AI companies that are using these, that it's maximum profits, infinite growth, that they just don't share that same creative obsessive passion that people like me have, which is just, I don't chase profits. This is not going to make me money. I chase the idea that this is really cool. and I want a lot of people to have it because I think it's really cool, and it's just something that a mindset that is not shared. But yeah, I want to wrap this up, and we've been talking for a while. I just want to end it with, do you have anything, any big projects planned that you want to let people know about that's coming in the future? Or yeah, just let people know.
Yeah, I'm currently working on the 4th issue of 88. Been slow going, so I missed last year. I had a lot of health problems that stopped me from drawing for a while, and I had intended to spend that year working on the book. So, I'm doing a lot better now, and getting into, like, I'm finishing up the roughs, and I'm gonna start finishing up the artwork for that. So I'm feeling it's a little bit late, but I'm happy to someday soon be getting that 4th book out. I know that some people have been waiting for that.
At this rate, you might as well hire a colorist.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe try expanding the team a little. Unless you want it to be a purely your personal project thing. That's still fine. Just, if someone's
it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool doing all the artwork, and also because I don't think my process is necessarily something I could hand off to be colored. I think it's kind of it's all kind of comes up from the ground up.
Yeah.
In a more direct way.
Yeah, I'm just saying, leave yourself open to that opportunity, because I used to handle a lot of things to myself, and then I started offloading a little bit of other things, and then I realized that it's afforded me that, because I don't have to do this part, and I trust in the person that's doing this other thing, I'm afforded, my space in my mind is allowed to think about other things, because I feel like when it comes to these kind of things, it's like, we want to get it all right, we want it to be perfect, like we said, like we're chasing perfection, right? That we're not allowed to do other things that could have made it even better beyond this point, because we're so we're so locked in on making it perfect for ourselves. And I don't know, I'm not telling you to, I'm just saying, like, afford yourself that opportunity, that you're allowed to have that kind of help.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, anyway, thanks for coming on the show. This was a really good talk. I'm really glad that we talked about this. I hope people, these all Vashperado's socials, links, artwork, everything here. You can go follow them. They're very talented. I love their work. You were amazing to talk to. If you're interested in coming on again, you let me know, and then we can talk about other things.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. That's a good talk.
Yeah. All right. Bye, already. Bye. Wave. Pretend to wave. Bye.
Thanks so much. Take care.